And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. If you are listening to this on the podcast, can you please do me a favor? Like, share, and review. Help me to grow the podcast. I want to reach my goal of 3,000 downloads by the end of 2020. If you can help me do that, it'd be greatly appreciated. So today we're going to talk about a couple things that I have been thinking about and going through. It's been a while since I've done a little bonus coverage episode. So we're going to talk about Duncan Sourisseau a little bit and his Out Hustle My Yesterday brand, which really is a big meaning to me. We'll get to that in a minute, but I just got back from Arizona. I went down to Arizona. I did the thing that everyone was not supposed to do, and I traveled for Thanksgiving. And I did that because, you know what? I needed to get the heck out of my house and out of the state and have a little break, which seemed to be just a little bit crazy at first. You know, I have a regular day job. I sell blinds by the day, and I go out and I do that every single day. And I haven't taken a break from that in a year and a half. We haven't really had an actual vacation where we've left the area. You know, I've been to Bend a couple times. I have a friend that lives there, and I go play golf every once in a while for a couple days, but we haven't left for more than, 2-3 days, a weekend. And so we did that. And it was fun. We had a really good time. I got to meet Jay Finning, who I have had on the podcast a couple times and haven't met. So it was good to sit down with him, have a couple good glasses of bourbon, and just talk about where this has all gone for us and how we've created. And if you didn't know that, I work with a couple podcasters on a daily basis. I basically call them my podcast mastermind group. And we kind of call Jay the Podfather, because Jay is the guy who's helped with sound. He's helped with creating the podcast, making it better, not just mine, not creating mine, but, I've created it together, but we're all working and talking about it. So, I just wanted to say thank you to Jay. Thank you to Zach Johnson. He's in Germany. He has his own podcast called the Limitless Possibilities Podcast. Thank you to Brian, who has his podcast called See Through It Podcast, which he's going to be rebranding. He's also been a guest. Zach's been a guest. And Jason Godoy, who is also in California. We've all worked through this, talked through this, and kind of just made this a better thing for everyone. We've all come so far from the beginning, and it's funny because I was listening to one of Brian's episodes in the beginning, and his podcast has morphed into something completely different. He has the most episodes, I think, out of all of us, and the most time into it, but it started out as, hey, I'm going to be talking about sports and gaming, and it's turned into this better, bigger thing. And he talks about, issues that he's dealing with and going through and seeing through all the things that the media tries to tell you and society tries to tell you, and just thinking on your own and kind of being a free thinker about things. That's one of them. They've all been really good, but you listen, and if you go back and you listen to the original podcast that I had, it was completely different. I was not sure what I was going to do. I was sitting in my garage recording it on an iPhone at first, and then recording it on an iPad. And then I got lucky. I don't like to say lucky. It happened because I did the work. And that's really what happened. I did the work. My friend I was paying him to run ads for me and help me kind of do some videos here and there, noticed how hard I was working on it. And they decided that they have this live network that I'm able to post my videos on. My podcast, you listen to it. It's also a live show, and it comes up and it pops up on there as well. So I got lucky. They not lucky. I hate saying lucky because I worked for it, and I'm not lucky. I worked hard for it. That kind of ties into Out Hustling My Yesterday with Duncan, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I worked for it. I have done everything I have. I have 68 episodes. Half of them are bonus coverage. I've done 39 interviews, and it's come so well. We have a lot going. We have a lot of where it's going to be going, but it started somewhere, right? And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Started with this idea that I was going to have this podcast where I was going to help local businesses in kind of in a selfish way, get myself some more business by them knowing who I am and getting my face out there for the company that I currently work for, trying to get more business. And it turned into this. It turned into, I didn't have to do that. I didn't need to be sitting there and trying to get this business to come in over and over again. People are going to buy from me because I am a person that they respect and that they trust. That turned into this. And I realized that it wasn't just about the job that I was doing, but it was about my life in general and the way I was thinking about things and how I always looked at things in a negative light and why are people getting things that I'm not getting and things like that. And once I changed that mindset that, it's about the work that I put in, and I'm putting in the work and I'm being the very best that I can be every single day. And I realized that I'm doing that. I don't need other people to tell me that. Then it kind of changed the way that I looked at things. And then changing the way that I thought about the process and how things are negative versus positive. And I'm having this conversation with you. It's December 2nd. And it's been a tough year. And it's not easy to stay in that positive mindset. It's not one of those things. I mean, tomorrow is December 3rd. I'm going to turn 40 years old tomorrow. June 10th, we had our 20-year anniversary, my wife and I did. And we were supposed to do all these great things. It's like I don't normally want to celebrate my birthday, but there's something about 40 that just seems different. There's something that, for me, just seems different. Same thing with a 20-year anniversary. You want to be able to celebrate that and celebrate yourself, and you can't because of COVID, because of 2020 being the way that it is. It's like, who are you going to invite over for a birthday party? Well, you can't really do that. I mean, 40 is kind of a big birthday, right? And people don't really, it is what it is. And I'm not the only person who's turning 40 this year. And I'm not the only person who had a 20-year anniversary. I'm not that only person, but it bugs you, right? And so we're trying to stay positive about it and trying to find a way to push through that. And that's a minor problem with what we're going through, but it still does bother you. So anyway, that's kind of where things are going. I have TVPBN has bought some studio space. I've been doing my live shows from my house. I've upgraded the studio. I call it a studio. My wife's, you're in our office, but that's okay. I have soundboards in here. I have a RE20 mic, which is just made the sound way better for me. I have just continually trying to grow. And that's kind of where this goes. You think about it. You think about the interview that I had with Duncan, and if you haven't listened to it, I really suggest that you do. It has a lot of downloads. I mean, it has way more hot out the gate than any other episodes that I've done. And it's because the message. I feel it's the message. I really do. Duncan runs this brand called Out Hustle My Yesterday. And he was on my friend Zach's podcast, and he talked about baseball and life in general and how everything that he's done he can relate back to baseball and use every single day. And that really hit me. I actually did a bonus coverage episode about it called 17 Inches of Life. It just reminded me of the fact that taking care of all the small things, which is something that I do on a daily basis, will make the big things happen. And it leads to a lot of things. There's a lot of people who are scared to be I don't want to say free thinker, but that's really what it is. You're thinking outside the box. You're trying to think about what you can do to better yourself every single day. And I've found that it's kind of opened my mind. And that all started with listening to Gary Vee, the guy that I've been trying, that I would just love to have a conversation with, pick his brain and talk more about why he does things he does. But his life is in the spotlight. So you kind of know everything about him, other than you can't just have a conversation with him and talk about what it is that he's doing, what he thinks that you should do. I mean, he just these great insights on people who want you to be better for everyday life and everything that you do. It began with that. I started reading one of his books called Crush It, and then started to realize that there's more to it than what I'm doing. And I'm not, I'm hustling, but I'm not hustling as much as I could. And I started to get on a roll with that and pushing myself and posting more on social media, which led to me getting more business, which led to me getting more direct leads, which led to, and I realized it's not about just the name. Started out as Wes at Blind Appeal. Now it's at Wes.Tankersley because there's another Wes Tankersley. What a surprise. There's lots of them, which is weird. Anyway, that's where it went. And I ended up finding my own place and started this podcast. And it's been almost a year. Kyle Uhlencott and I started to decide to do this we were going to co-host it, and it just turned into he was too busy, and I was, our work schedules didn't mesh, and we couldn't make it so that we could do it at a certain time every week. It turned into this. I got the TV PBN deal, and now I'm here doing this every single day. We're at 68 episodes. I've had some great guests reach out. I did a Mark Simo interview. If you haven't heard of him, that's a great interview. It has the most downloads of any episode that I have, which, we measure success by downloads in the podcast because that's really what it is. How many people are you reaching? Which we're always trying to reach more and more people every single day. So it's interesting how we look at things that way, but I have to have some way to measure it, and I have to be able to reach a goal. So that's where I set the goal at 3,000 downloads by the end of the year, which isn't a ton. But you know what? Every day I get more downloads. And that's really the out hustle my yesterday mentality that I've had my whole life, but now I have a way to look at it. And I have this mantra that I think about, hey, am I doing something more than what I was doing yesterday? And that's the toughest part with people, is they don't understand. They always think that people get things given to them, but you're not the one who's doing this. You're not the one who's putting yourself out there. You're not the one. And we sit there and we think about that. All we do is think about it. I thought about it for a long time, over and over again. That's all we do is think about it. So instead of thinking, take action. Get out there and do it, and try and do more than you did yesterday. Out hustle your yesterday. There's so much more to that interview that really hit home with me. It is one of those things that you have to be willing to do more, whether it's reading a new book every day, whether it's, taking that one step, but you have to think about it. What are you doing every day to learn? And one of the things that I really like about this group is I call it my mastermind group. We call ourselves the Justice Avengers. And there's 5 of us in there, and we talk every single day about what we're doing to make things better every single day. What can we do to make our podcast better? What can we do to sell merchandise? What can we do to push this and that? It's always another thing. While I was in Arizona, spending a couple of days down there, I started to think about it and what I could do to have a house down in Arizona, because I really liked it down there. And I'm a baseball fan, and I want to be down there during spring training. And what could I do to do that? So I started thinking about how I could come up with an investment group and how we could all go in and buy this house and then rent it out for the times that we're not using it. We all get a week or whatever. And then next thing you know, we'll have a house paid for and we can go down there and then just do it again, over and over and over again. Different cities, different places. We can go visit. Saves you money. You have a place to stay when you get there. You got to pay for your plane ticket and your food. It's an idea that I've come up with, and that's the next big thing for me, is just continually finding ways to have more, be more, and have those things that you want. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna go off about today. I don't know if I would really call it going off, but I want to talk about today. What are you doing to out hustle yourself? Out hustle you yesterday. What are you doing to be better than you were yesterday? Every single day, be thinking about that. Out hustle your yesterday. I want to thank John Hutton with JH Visuals. He made this intro video that I have here, if you're watching this on the video. I also want to thank Leanne at PodSpout. She has sponsored the show. And if you need a PodSpout account, which is like Linktree, only better, you should check it out. Go to west.tankersley on Instagram and look at the link in my bio. It'll give you a good insight to what that looks like. It's a very visually appeasing landing page for your podcast if you want to grow your podcast and promote it. And then I also want to thank my producers at TVPBN and at Aggressive Marketing Solutions, because they've been with me ever since episode 6. I do a lot of these on my own, but they do every single interview they've done so far, for the most part. I think I've had one interview that they haven't done, but they've been there every step of the way. And we're going to be in studio. I'm going to start recording episodes on the 12th. It should be in studio. We tried to do it the last time, and there was just, they were all sick, so we didn't get to get in there. But I'm very excited to be able to get in there and show you guys what's going on. Hey, have a great day. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.